Irrespective of commercial success, what do you think's your best work that you've ever done?
There's certain books that kind of really stand out to me as ones that kind of, and I think you have to wait for a while. Like, you know, I'm not. I mean, you know, you don't know. I don't really know about this one yet. I don't really know about Skag Boys yet. They're still too new. I think the ones that have kind of, to me, the two books I'm probably most proud of, for different reasons, have been Marabou Stop Nightmares, which we talked about, but also Glue. And the one that kind of really struck, has kind of come into its own for me recently, is one that was very, very difficult over here. There's a book called Crime, which was set in Miami, a very noirish book about, but kind of a very depressing and distressing subject about child sex abuse. So it was very hard to kind of to get behind that book. But I was doing it in France recently. I was promoting it in France. It just came out there, and it was just going back into it and thinking about it and having to reread it again. I feel very proud of that book now. I think it's a really good book, and it really works well on a kind of on different emotional levels. So I think probably these are the three current ones that I feel particularly proud of. Obviously, you know, there's ones that, you know, like kind of Trainspotting and Filth and all that, because they've had that commercial success, they're always going to be sort of kind of important to you. You know, the ones that they're the ones that people are going to know you for. But the ones that I think Marabou Stop Nightmares and Glue in particular are the ones that I feel most proud of, and also maybe Crime coming into that bracket.
Hello. I was just wondering, with your successive novels like Trainspotting and Filth, and it being adapted into films, did you have much influence with the adaptation, and what did you think of the outcome of the films?
I had quite a bit of the two that it's interesting. I'm not just kind of saying this because of the best two adaptations. I've had 4 books adapted for screen now, and the two I felt most involved with and engaged with were Trainspotting and Filth, which have been the most successful. But which isn't really anything to do with me, I don't think. But it's kind of a lot to do with the two directors, Danny Boyle and John Baird, were just so into those novels, and that was something that, and because they were into these novels, I think they wanted to work very closely with me on these adaptations. Whereas, like, I mean, I think like Paul McGuigan and Rob Hayden did, you know, they did really good jobs with the Acid House and Ecstasy, but I kind of felt that they were guys who they wanted to do their first feature films, and this was a good place for them to start. And they you know, they liked the materials, they liked the books, but with Danny and John, it was almost like a kind of an obsession that they had with these two particular books. I mean, when John started adapting Filth, he kind of he wrote to me in all these characters. You know, he'd write in character, right, kind of you know. He'd write in Bruce Robertson's character, he'd send me emails as Bruce Robertson, he'd send me emails as Ray Lennox and all that. And I thought, this guy knows more about these books than I do. You know, I had to read, you know, the book to keep up with him, and you know, it's like, and I was kind of, the involvement with Filth was kind of probably the most that I had to do, because I was one of the producers, and I was going out with John to try and package the film in Hollywood, to try and get a sales agent out there, to get you know, a casting director out there, to work with a casting director to get it cast and try and find the best possible talent for it, because of that, you know, the way the character is, it could be if you had an actor who was just playing him as this kind of sort of laddish bastard, basically, it could be a really shit movie. You have to have somebody that's able to get the kind of pathos and the pain behind the character and all these emotional transitions that the character needs to undertake. And we were really, really lucky to get James McAvoy, who just does an amazing performance in that movie.
Were you completely on side with the decision to cast McAvoy?
Yeah, I mean,
He's younger than the character you've written.
yeah. I mean, when we first met him, I mean, I've said this loads of times, but it's true. You know, I met him in the Soho Hotel, and he looked about 10 years old, and I thought, he'll never be a kind of 40-year-old divorced alcoholic cop. But went upstairs and left him and John, the director, to see how they got on. When I came down half an hour later, he'd basically changed. He had aged, and he had got really kind of nasty and kind of sneery and all that, you know. And I thought, fuck me, he's auditioning, he's gone straight into character. I thought, if he can do that, and he can look this, we looked all sweaty and nasty and kind of, you know. So this is without kind of, he's not had any rehearsal time, he's not kind of really had the chance to read the script more than a couple of times, and he's not been in costume and makeup. You know, this guy's going to absolutely knock this thing crazy if he gets all these resources behind him, you know. So it was just, and he was so enthusiastic about it when he got involved, and he was very, he came on board as a producer, and he was very kind of particular in a good way about who he would work with, and John's very, very choosy about casting. John casts even the most kind of smallest part, he really auditions the fuck out of it and really casts it in tremendous, he's very, very detailed about it. So the pair of them were basically like, they were like Siamese Twins basically on the set, and they were right on the same page with it. And it was just to have a, you know, a film of your book